mindset cafe, we all about that mindset. Gotta stay focused, never settle for less. It's all in your head, how you think you manifest. So get ready to rise, cause we about to be the best. Gotta switch it up, gotta break the old habits. Get your mind right, turn your dreams into habits. No negative vibes, only positive thoughts.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Mindset Cafe podcast. We apologize. We were going to come on a little bit earlier tonight, but it is what it is. We had some technical difficulties, and that's why we are sitting side by side. Even though Nick usually tries to sit side by side with me, we are operating off of a single camera today. So with that being all said, the topic of today is going all in. And this actually fits that because we could have as easily just been like, you know what, we'll do this another day. Cameras aren't working, but we are all in on the podcast and we are all in on giving you guys the information on these live Fridays. So without further ado, it is your boy Devin, as always, our lovely co-host, Nicholas.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
I thought you were going to say Nick, but So today's topic, all-in mindset, right? So the first part is like, okay, well, what is an all-in mindset? And to us, we want to elaborate it more than just like, okay, like you're going all in, you're pot committed, it's this or nothing. It means really focusing on giving your 100% to the task or to the goal that you are trying to complete, right? You're not letting outside distractions, you're not letting outside influences affect your ability to perform or your ability to reach your goal, right? And there's going to be some different aspects that we talk about today, the pros, the cons, some strategies, what the benefits are of, an all-in mindset, going all-in mindset, and then also just some of the examples that we've had in our own lives, as well as, from our personal training backgrounds and our business background, and really defining what that is for you guys. So let's start it off, Nicholas. When should someone decide if they're going to go all in, or what is a task that someone goes all in for?
So in my opinion, like something, when is something that you should go all in is if the goal or what you're trying to attain is, it holds them like that value to you. If it means something to you internally, that's greater than any of all the other, kind of excuses or anything that's going on externally, doesn't weigh as much to you as what the main objective is. That if that achieving that certain thing is going to mean everything to you. Right.
For example, let's say you want to become an entrepreneur and you're working a 9 to 5, and the smart thing is, or one aspect of it would be all in, all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I have to go all in. That means quit my job and go for this, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that is a version of it where you're burning the boats to go all in on your launching your startup. But another aspect of going all in on launching your startup could be, well, you work from 9 to 5. So from 5 to 9, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., you're going all in on launching your business and getting your business ready to be launched for the hours that you have. And then the next level of all in for you would be to, let's say, quit your job and then, switch to your business. Another thing, let's say an athlete, let's say, Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, like they went all in every time they went to practice. They were all in on their practice for that next game.
Yeah. Or like right now, like the Olympics.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with one of the members here at the gym, and so we were talking about what it takes for these Olympic athletes, like what it takes for them to, one, even just qualify and, represent their country or whatnot and make it to the Olympics. They have to sacrifice, if anything, 4 years, most of them probably more. They devote their life to that specific, to that specific sport in getting themselves ready, but not just that, but to be the best in the world. So the commitment that takes for each of those individuals it's kind of unfathomable. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's all or nothing for them.
Right. I mean, there was that one Olympic student that I forget what sport, but I read a story that he basically broke his finger, or it was a weird kind of a break. And it was either he gets the surgery, which would put him out of the Olympics, or he amputated basically like the tip of his finger, and he chose for amputation.
Damn.
And I was like, that is going fucking all in.
That's
Like,
not committed.
Yeah, you don't got your finger for life, right? But when you're going all in, it's not just for one thing, right? It's for a goal. So every task, everything that you're doing leading up to that goal is you're giving all in. You're not letting outside distractions, sway you. Let's say a student or a kid has a test, an exam, an important exam. They're not going to let, a party or hanging out with their friends get in the way of making sure that they're prepared enough for that test, because the test is one of those things where it's going to have long-term benefits and long-term effects, right? So I want to kind of jump to, I know we kind of talked about some of the things that we were, going to go into, and I want to kind of skip into the skills a little bit, because it's important that you realize going all in, it's for the short-term sacrifices, right? You're missing one party, but there's going to be hundreds of parties, in the future. But this goal or this exam or this promotion or this, whatever it is for you, if you're all in, it's not going to always be there.
Yeah.
Like for us, for example, like, more so than just this podcast with our franchise, like we're like, there is no more all in than we can get, right? Like we are all in, pretty much dove into the deep end, and we are walking on the deep end, right? But it's not because we just did it blindly. It's because there is nothing that's going to stop us from achieving our vision and our goal, right? And the franchise is just the first layer of our actual goal, right? We talked about this on a previous episode, but there's layers to that, and each one has us committed all in. And once we achieve that goal, then we're all in on achieving the next goal, and it goes one to the next, but at the same time, we are celebrating the processes, right? We're celebrating the progress. And why don't you touch in on that? Because I mean, me and you have had those realizations, and we get harder on ourselves because we are all in all the time, that sometimes we don't realize that, we got to sometimes look back and, realize our progress.
Yeah. So just to elaborate a little bit, it's like when you fully committed yourself, when, like your mind and your heart is set, you've established that, like, okay, this goal that I'm trying to get to, that I'm trying to achieve, like, there's nothing else. Like there's no external factor, which I know we'll touch on, where it's like, in a way it can get kind of, it's a con in a way, but it's emotionally too. I think it's like very taxing at certain points, that depending on what you're trying to achieve, it's a very long road. And since you kind of deter away from other aspects of your life, and then you don't get to your goal immediately or right away, because it is more of like a delayed gratification, which is something that we talked about previously, because it does take time, and understanding that, along with time and just putting in all your effort, that even if it is discouraging sometimes, that you have to appreciate how far you've come and the wins that you've accumulated, that's still taking proper steps forward, still to the same main goal. You know what I mean? Kind of patting yourself on the back, not like, okay, like that's good enough and then stop, but patting yourself on the back and saying, okay, I've made it this far towards that bigger goal that I'm trying to get to. Let me keep going.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's one of those things that we've had the conversation, because one, we are moving fast, and, not moving fast in the sense of like staying all in allows you to excel your timelines, right? One of the things that, people say is when you're all in, you can achieve basically the extraordinary, right? Extra being the key word, because most people go half-ass in, right? They're dipping the toe in the water and saying that they're doing it, that they're in the pool, but it's like, bro, you're, 10% of you is in the pool, right? Like, we cannonballed, let's go,
100%.
right? And so I think that what you're talking about too, and when we've had these reflection points, was never at a high point, right? Like, and not saying that you shouldn't, but we always had to realize and analyze what our progress steps have made, because when you do reflect and you do analyze and celebrate the progress versus only achieving the end destination, and it doesn't need to be huge, celebrations, pat on the back, I'm doing good, or, just even the acknowledgement that you're going the right way, it can keep your motivation on the down phase so that you can come back up on that next up phase.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just to, kind of give a little simpler example, kind of like the Olympics people, you know what I mean? It's like them going all in means that they can't apply the efforts, the hours, the practices that it requires to be the best of what they're trying to, because if they don't, they're not gonna be the best, and they're not gonna make it to the Olympics or even win. You know what I mean? So all the other potential candidates or other competitors that are doing the same sport, if they're not all in, or at least they're not giving 150% of the effort that you would be putting into, it's like that you kind of already beat them in a sense. And that's I think that's very applicable to each individual. Even like, for example, if you're going all in on your health and fitness goals, it's like, yourself how much effort you're putting in. Like, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds in getting ready for a wedding or whatever, something like that. Yourself, if you're actually all in attaining that, or if you're not all in on that, if you're half-assing the efforts that you're putting in, or I'm having a cheat meal here, or I have a little bit of time left in between that, it's like, then you're not all in. That's not the real definition of it. If you're all in, it's like both feet in. Like, all the other external factors that can, play a role in kind of pulling you away to stay on track, that's part of something that, it takes skill for you to, and practice and determination for you to kind of like maintain on that, like on that path, on the right path.
No, definitely. I mean, and one of the things that, mentioning into like the external factors and stuff like that, one of the comments that we talked about, one of the members mentioned, right, Jess, she had told you today that people, say, give her the praise or the congrats, and look, you came this far, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you look good.
Yeah. And it's like, one, you shouldn't deny that, right? You can't deny that praise or that,
pat on the back.
Yeah, I forget the word for it, but like when someone gives you that pat on the back, like, say thank you. Like, show, like, you have to have gratitude for that too, because you are telling your subconscious, like, this is what I want, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be okay with where you are. If you think that you're not there yet and it's not enough, that's okay. That's good, because that means you are all in, and being all in means that you're staying hungry for the next level, right? And so it's okay to not be satisfied with where you're at, knowing that you can achieve more, knowing that you can do more, or just wanting to do more, right? It starts with want.
And we're Jess, like, she is watching, so shout out Jess. Like, to where you're at, where the point that you're at now, from where you started, you had to give all in to get where you're at right now. Am I right? So in the same concept, your next tier, your next level up, it's the same thing. You're gonna have to go all in and give 100% maximum effort to attain like what you envision for yourself. But that doesn't mean you can't, like Devin said, you can't, be thankful. And because other people see it, it's like, okay, yeah, then I've put in this work, I'm on the right track. Now let me go all in on what I want next.
Right. And I think that one of the things that, can happen, because, right, we're talking about it increases your motivation, and, when you're going all in and you're seeing the results and you're seeing the progress, it's not to say that you're not at the risk of burnout, or basically, burning yourself out, getting exhausted mentally, physically. Any journey in life is going to be a roller coaster, right? There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, there's going to be great days, there's going to be shitty days. And realizing that that's part of the process, and staying committed and truly being all in on even the days that you don't want to get out of bed, the days that you don't want to come into the gym, the days that you don't feel like it, right? The days that your little voice in the back of your mind is trying to tell you a million excuses why you can not do it today,
or when things aren't going right.
Yeah,
that too.
So it's like, that's normal, right? Burnout is it's a basically a low part in mindset, right? When you're burnt out, it just means that you've been giving it, so much, and not giving yourself enough recovery time And it doesn't need to be like, you can, go all in 10, 20, 30 days in a row. But at some point you need to have little breaks, right? And let yourself decompress and have something like, so if it's not a fitness goal, let's say it's, for business, right? Our decompression is working out, right? Because this happened, I mean, you saw it with me, like, especially with launching the franchise part, when the days, not that they're much shorter anymore, but when it was literally all in, like, 5 a.m. to, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., just nonstop on the computer, building out all the system processes. Like, I was physically burning myself out, but I also wasn't working out because like, I just wanted to keep putting my effort in. And that's where burnout starts to happen, right? It's the fact that you're going all in and you are letting the balance, right? And it doesn't need to be 50-50. It's you're letting your life balance, right, get out of whack. I only need a little bit of time to work out, and I can spend the rest of my day building the business, but that little time has so much value in the decompression of the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Right. So it's only 1 hour out of the 24. And that 1 hour, if I don't do it, it throws me off for the next 23.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like you're think of it like a machine, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not doing what it takes, to make sure that the machine is working properly. And in this case, for you, an extension, a release, the workout, it's like you're not setting yourself up to be as successful and to perform at the most optimum level that you can be, that you can perform. You know what I mean? G actually had a question in the comments, which shout out G.
Where you guys all in the comments? You guys are all, in them last week and stuff. Like, let's go. I know we were late, but that doesn't mean that you can't go all in on this episode.
Yeah, let us know what you guys, what's your thoughts on the topic. But G did say, what was the one thing that pushed you guys the most to just go all in on opening Strive? It's a deep one.
Hey man, you read the question. You can answer it too. You didn't come up with the question.
No, I thought you wanted to answer it first.
Go for it.
So what was the one thing that pushed you guys the most to just go all in? For me, it was understanding that this is the opportunity that aligns with my vision for myself. That I know it aligns with you too, that making a difference, that doing something with my life that I can be not just proud of, but like, even when I'm not here anymore, that it's still making an impact in many people's lives, that we leave like a legacy in a sense. To me, that was it, because like I had a good job, working at Kaiser, but it's like I had to actually think like numerous times, like, internally, am I satisfied? Am I fulfilling my fullest potential with where I'm currently at? And the answer was no, because like, I mean, now, like, I don't regret anything. And it's like thinking about it now, it's like, damn, like, it is a struggle and it's hard. And it's like, I'm actually needing to push myself beyond boundaries that I could never imagine. And still yet, things that I don't even know of yet. But the fact of that part is challenging me just solidifies what was the part in my heart way back in the beginning of, pretty much wanting to do something way bigger than myself was my one thing that pushed me to just go all in and just literally drop everything, leave everything that was comfortable, leave everything that was safe, that was, ordinary. You know what I mean? Because the things like, I'm not saying like, oh, like we're the best at everything, but that's what we're striving to be. You know what I mean? But yeah, to me, that's it.
Man, speak for yourself. Just kidding.
Trying to be humble a little bit.
I mean, similar. I mean, me and Nick have had this, conversation, in the beginning, before we actually partnered up and stuff. We were actually driving to Mexico, and because I had a client and she was a professional boxer, and he was coming with me to basically go down to Mexico, to Rosarito and to Tijuana to basically help with the fights. And on the way we had the conversation, basically I was like, what is your vision for yourself with Strive, right? Because for me, the one thing that pushed to launch Strive, my personal training company, it was one of those things where I was the business, and I knew that when I was, operating the 6-figure business. I mean, that's how me and Nick met. So there was no regrets in that at all. That was my stepping stone. But I knew that there was always going to be something more, and developing what, the earliest version of Strive 11, right? Nick and I have made so many renditions of, of it, and it's molded into what it is now. But like the early stages, it was one of those things where I was like, this is going to be what the next step is. And that's so that my personal training clients was, I was a business, and now we can actually create a business. So when I was with Nick on the way to Mexico, I asked him, I was like, what is your vision, right? What do you want out of this? Is it to be rich? Is it to, be famous? What is it? Right. And I knew what my answer was, but I didn't. And actually Nick at that stage was still doing his whole rewording the question and throwing it back at me. And I didn't let that happen for this one because I wanted a genuine answer. So he basically, said his vision like what he was saying right now, and, talked about leaving a legacy and everything, which aligned with what I wanted, right? Like, I don't care about being famous. I don't care about, the money. That's not my motivating factor. My motivating factor was creating something that is actually going to benefit the fitness industry, right? Not creating a gym just to create a gym. There's thousands of them, right? I wanted to create something different that is going to benefit the members, benefit the trainers, benefit, now franchisees, and see it nationwide, right? And then see it globally and so forth. It all goes back to, in high school, I had t-shirt companies and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't, for me, it wasn't the sale of the t-shirt. It was walking around school and then seeing my t-shirt, just, oh, look, there's my t-shirt over there. Or one of my friends pointing it out. And it's like, or all of a sudden someone would text me and be like, hey, I saw your, someone wearing your t-shirt at, whatever store. I was like, that lit me up. I was like, damn it, that's so cool. Yeah. Right. So for me, I want to see it in every state, in every city, and just knowing that that's what we created, and that we created it with the right core values, and we are positively impacting lives. Like, our whole goal is not just to change our lives, but to change everyone that, is on our team, as well as every franchisee and their team, their members, all that kind of stuff. So to have that spider web effect, I mean, if you want to grow fast, grow alone. If you want to grow, if you want to go farther, then grow together, right? So that was my whole thing with it.
Yeah, it's cool is like such an underrated word, but it's like a feeling that it's hard to explain when you see something that you were a part of or that you created, and it's like, and it like has an effect on other people, or it's out there, even just like the shirt thing, like knowing that you like saw that the shirt, like people were wearing your shirt that you didn't even know about, or even here at Strive, like, people that we run into, it's like, oh, like Strive, him, and it's like, damn, like just that feeling, like I was a part of that.
Yeah,
it's a great feeling, and I think that's like the driver, I think, for both of us too. It's beyond measure, I think.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you guys have, what are you guys going all in on right now?
Yeah, right? I was about to ask that, because like Dico's laughing, Geraldine's laughing in the comments. So tell us about things that you guys
what is your one thing you
go all in on,
that you go all in on, or you should be going all in on, right? What is the goal that you have? Right. Dico and I had a conversation the other day. I'm not going to, say what the conversation was, but me and him talked about it, right? In a different sense, right? And that's, everyone has their thing that they need to be going all in on. And the question is, are you going all in? You say you want it, but how bad do you want it? Right. And it's one of those things where your reflection, even like what this happens to us, like, we reflect, and me and Nick had a phone call the other day where like I was reflecting on myself, and it's like Nick was, and this goes into like support systems and stuff too, because like Nick was the one that was like, hey, like, dude, we got this, like, I believe in you, and blah blah blah. And we've had these conversations back and forth, right? Because the end of the day, there are highs, there are lows, and even though we're a team, we have our individual highs and lows at different points. It's not always together. Like, we have the joint business highs and lows, but then we battle our own things mentally as well, right? So I think that's one of those things where you got to be able to reflect and know, are you doing everything that you can? Or for us, like, we have a few people coming down, and they're going to be coming onto the franchise system, and it's like, are we going to be doing everything that we should be doing to give them everything that they need to succeed. And we already know that we are, and that's just our personalities. Like we will go above and beyond to make sure that they have the right tools. And that was the whole reason for us starting this, starting the franchise, right? And this where part of this topic kind of comes up, right? We have one of the candidates that's about to go all in on the franchise. And me and him had a conversation, and then I had a conversation with Nick, and look, it's a huge risk for us because we are a newer franchise. But are we willing to not take the risk to protect ourselves and kind of stray away from our core values of having a positive impact when we know we have the vehicle that can change this person's life, and this person fits all of our core values and their personality and everything? They would be a huge value asset and value add to Strive 11, right? So it's like, we're willing to take the risk. If they're willing to take the risk, we're willing to take the risk, and we know we're going to over deliver to make sure that we can mitigate some of that risk for him.
Yeah.
Right.
And just to, kind of like from what we're talking about right now, it's okay, guys, to feel at a certain point, it's like the low points, to like question yourself in a sense, to like, okay,
we do that shit all the time.
100%. That's why I think part of it is
you can't sit in the question though.
Yeah, right. That's what I was gonna say. Like, you can't sit in the question, but also it's like, if you're going all in on something and you're not scared, or you don't have certain moments of, just like those low points, then maybe what you're going all in on is not big enough, is one thing. But also, while you're like having those low points, like that's like this Devin said, like that support system is huge. You know what I mean? Because like, I know there's certain goals or things that you're going all in on that you kind of have to, bear through those things, like mentally, emotionally, like alone. But like having a support system is a big factor to it too. Because like off of the phone call that me and Devin had, like, yes, it was a heart to heart. What was it called? Devin was like, when he had told me that, I was like, I told him, and he got quiet for a second. I was like, bro, like, I believe in you. I was like, and it got quiet. I was like, bro, I believe in you. Whatever weight is on your shoulders, like, don't forget, they're on my shoulders too. Like, I got you. We got each other. And then I can hear him tearing over the phone. I'm just kidding.
No, but I mean, honestly, that's what it goes. Like, if you question yourself, it's not necessarily a bad thing. That doesn't mean you're doubting yourself. That means that, one, you have a passion for what you're trying to do, and that you truly care about it, right? And it wasn't doubting myself or doubting Nick or doubting our system or our business model that led to the questioning. It was, this person believes in us this much. They're willing to, like, you can't go all in more than they're going to go all in, right? And when someone believes in you that much and believes in the system, like, it added to the weight of the risk because we care about the person. I mean, the easy route would just be like, yeah, fucking let them do it, right?
Yeah.
If sink or swim on them. That's not how we operate. So the weight of that was one of those things where, one, we had to talk about it and then, come up with a decision. But at the same time, like, we both believe in ourselves, even though there are those, ups and downs and questioning, that you realize that, we go all in, and we know that when he comes on board, like, we will continue to go all in. So it's going to be okay.
Yeah. That in a nutshell is what, to me, what all in means. It's like, no matter what, we will not fail. And like, along the way, like, no matter what it takes, what needs to be done. And I told you this on the phone, like, we will do it, period. Like, and my words, like, are everything, you know what I mean? Like, my word is my bond. Like, when I say, like, Devin and I are going to do everything we possibly can, until we can't, until the wheels fall off. That's what all in means to me. I think that's what, like, a lot of us should, like, reflect on certain things. Like, whatever your goals are, like, are you all in? Like, are you willing to sacrifice what needs to be sacrificed to get it done? Deco commented, he in regards to our question, like, he said, I started my recruiting firm yesterday, and that's my all in. Not looking for fame, just want to leave a legacy for my family.
It says fame, not frame.
Oh, for fame.
Yeah, for legacy. I mean, Deco's one, like, Deco and Nat, I mean, shout out to them. Like, not only are they are some of the OG members of Strive 11, but Deco and I and Nick are definitely friends, from the training for the first Spartan race and all that kind of stuff. But that was kind of the conversation. See, I mean, Deco, you threw it out there. I wasn't going to say it, but now that you opened up that door, right? And so Deco and I had this conversation yesterday where his goal, and he has more goals past than just his recruiting firm, right? I'm not going to put his goals out into the universe because those are his goals to do what he wants. But we had this conversation where him starting his own business, I told him like that's an amazing, step. It's a scary step, but it's an amazing step. And so we had this talk of, well, what do these other companies do, and what do how do you do the same processes? And it was one of those realizations for him that it was like, okay, well, they, these companies use all these softwares and so forth, and I don't have those softwares. It's like, okay, but these companies were around before, and companies like this were around before those softwares were built, right? Someone didn't build the software for a company or an industry that wasn't around, right? So there's ways around it. So it's when you're going all in, you may not have the tools, you may not have the skills yet, but the thing is, you can still acquire those skills in the future. But if you sit and dwell on what you don't have now, and you're looking at the world and you're looking at your journey as the glass is half full, half empty, and not like half full, that's going to be your limiting factor. Because now you're always going to be, well, I don't have this, so I can't do that, or I'm not going to grow as fast, or I'm not going to be successful. It's like, yeah, you might not be as successful as you could have been with those, as fast as you could have been, but you can be just as successful. It's just how resourceful you are and how adaptable you are, right? So at the end of the day, when you go all in, you need to be confident enough in yourself where you will find a way, you will adapt. You on the lows, it's a low, that means it's a learning time, right? When it's in high, like you should still be reflecting and analyzing why it's a high, and keep trying to amplify and do those things. But again, you will end up hitting a low, and now you're learning why did you hit that low, and you start to build new skills and new systems around getting you out of that.
Yeah. Patty asked the question. What's up, Patty? Patty asked the question. She said, "Where's the franchise location?"
Don't worry about it.
And then she said, "Wherever you want it to open one, girl." She said, "Everywhere." That's the goal.
No, there are a few that are in the final stages, and I don't want to say any locations or anything until they are official. That's just how Nick and I operate, right? So when they are official, then they will be announced. Believe me, you guys will know. But until then we'll just let you know that there are a few that
we'll let the excitement build up.
Yeah. We'll just say that if things continue to go the way they should be going, we will start to be nationwide. So who else? I mean, in the comments, guys, who else? What are your things that you should be going all in right now, right? What is your goal? Whether it's professionally, whether it's when you're fitness, whether it's just mindset, right? What is your thing that you should be going all in on, and are you going all in on it, right? And why we let you guys think about that. Let's go into like a little bit about managing expectations, right? Because I mean, this is something that we have talked about. And even for us, when you set your expectations, in my opinion, when you set your expectations for a single outcome or a super specific outcome, you kind of set yourself up for disappointment, right? In certain scenarios, depending on the goal, right? Obviously, if you're going to the Olympics, you're going for gold, right? But
go for gold,
right? But in other areas, right? If let's say you're trying to your fitness, you're trying to, bench press, 200 pounds, and you don't get it today or in, let's say this year, you could be disappointed. But the thing is, you got to realize that you also improved from 150 to 195, right? So it's like managing those expectations and realizing certain things have ranges, like, and not being too hard on yourself for those, for those ranges, and celebrating those, again, progress steps, I think is a huge aspect.
Yeah.
And what would you say on that?
Yeah. So kind of like what you said about, depending on the goal and the situation and what you're trying to attain, it's like, that's where the small wins, and the small like milestones and creating those, it's like, and having that understanding that you're not gonna blink an eye, or you're gonna put in one effort and then it's gonna be a success immediately. you know, and expect disappointment at very numerous times. You know what I mean? But creating like, you know, small mini goals, but also like certain milestones that lead up to that bigger, that main thing is kind of like a more strategic and tactical way to approach your all-in goal. Because then when you do, because it's easier for, I guess it's easier to see and understand, like when you are reaching each milestone, it's like, okay, yeah, I set my current goal, my first step here, and then you work towards that, you put in all the effort, then you get there, then you move on to the next one, and then the next one, until ultimately you're going to get to, you know, wherever you're trying to get. There's a here. Oh, Geraldine said, I want to do a powerlifting competition, but still not ready to go all in, but I should. But why not?
Yeah.
Why are you not ready, G?
I mean, that's a perfect, you know, like statement right there, right? It starts with a want, right? And so your desire to do the powerlifting competition, that is the thing that it should be that you're going all in on. And you going all in doesn't need to be necessarily that you sign up for a powerlifting competition today or tomorrow, but you start to go all in on taking the steps that you need to take so that you can enter into a powerlifting competition.
She said, I'm scared. What's her answer?
You're fucking lifting weights. What are you to be scared about? You know, it's not like you're going into a haunted house. Like, you know, it's just like any other competition, right? There's good, like other people are competing. It's a competition. So if you're scared of competition, I mean, I can't really help you on that, right? But at the same time, you have to realize that it's a competition and you are trying to compete not only against the other people at the actual competition, but you're competing against your current self, right? So you going all in on trying to be able to, or you going all in on getting ready for a powerlifting competition is competition on your yesterday you.
Yeah. My thing with that I want to like
suck it up, G, just go for it.
My thing like that's a good example, G. It's like when to everybody, like, you know, that listens to this, even at a later point, it's like whatever your goal is, whatever you're trying to go all in on, and you're waiting and it, like I understand, like, you know, the fear and the anticipation and stuff like that, and the many doubts in your head. Whatever your goal is, my question is when, though.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Like, we can't forget that, like, time is just, it keeps moving. Time is a constant, so that it does not care how scared you are. It does not care what situation you're in, because whatever you're trying to attain, time is moving. You know, because like
time is moving, so should you.
That's your favorite quote. But like, yeah, like ask yourself that when, though. Is it? I think that's another thing too that goes with a lot of people's goals, is like we're waiting for the right time. You're waiting for the right moment, quote unquote. But the thing is, the perfect time never comes. Damn, put that on a shirt. Perfect time never comes. Like, you have to create the starting point. You have to make the right time, like right now. Unless somebody cut your legs off, G, like you need to start like now. Because like tomorrow may never come. Just
they still got handicap powerlifting competitions.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like tomorrow may never come, and it's like the regret, or something may happen, knock on wood. But I'm just saying, like, you know, on any goal, it's like, would the regret of not starting and going all in on all your efforts to attain what you want, to me, that's like the biggest regret like anybody can hold. And I think, to going back to the question that she asked earlier, like I think that's another motivating factor for me. It's like, you know, like the regret that I saw the potential, and I know, like, I know myself, and I know that I'm all in on everything that I do. And I know you are too. And that's why I have full faith in both of us, that it's like that was a thing, like, damn, like if I don't do this, am I gonna regret it? Am I gonna regret not trying and putting my beat to the wall and just doing that shit? So I think that's a big question for everybody. It's like, whatever you want to go all in on, it's like when's the perfect time? You know?
I mean, the perfect time to plant a tree was yesterday, right? So that's already someone's quote, but the thing is, you don't have a reason why you can't do it. I'm scared is not a reason. You're scared of what? You're scared of what people are going to think about you. You're scared of what you're going to lose. You're like, you lose, so what? You just, again, we talked about this, last time. That just means you weren't good enough yet to win, right? But then you go back to the drawing board and you try again, right? You only fail when you don't get back up. You only fail when you give up, right? So if you don't have there's no financial cost to start training for a powerlifting competition, right? So it's not financial, and you already work out, so it's not time, and there's no real reason, right? So when you have one of those things where you want to do something, that's where it starts. You have a dream, dream is a vision, right? So you have a vision. You have a vision of you lifting, doing a powerlifting competition. We had a vision of Strive. A dream written down becomes a plan. A plan broken down into steps, and those steps taken action, that becomes your reality, right? So it all starts from your vision or your want or your desire. And then you write it down, right? And you write out a plan. Then you break that plan into steps. And then with those steps, you take the first step. Mm-hmm. It's as easy as that. Because reality is your perception, right? Reality is your action. And your perception is of the actions or inactions, the experiences or the inexperiences that you've had in your life. Mm-hmm. And if you've had experiences, good or bad, it's because you were there, right? Or you weren't there. If you accomplished something or didn't accomplish something, it's because you did or didn't do something. There's no one to blame but you. So where you are at currently in any journey, there's no one to blame. There's no one to be hard at. There's no external factors that you can convince me that you're stuck there because of that one thing 10 years ago, right? That's the limiting belief. You could go down any journey you would like. If there's a will, there's a way. And that's why we have maybe delusional confidence, but we have confidence in ourselves because Nick knew if he didn't join with me and when we launched this, because nothing was launched, before our partnership, but he knew I was doing it either way. Mm-hmm. And so when he talks about the regret, that would have been if he didn't, partner up and join visions with me and grow our vision together. But for me, I've always had the mindset of it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that's not to the same extent that you're saying, G, where you're saying, one day, yeah. It's not that there was no one day. Every single day I was trying to take steps, and one door would close, I would find another door, or I would build a door. I would look for a window. Like I was actively doing something. That's how Nick and I's partnership came about, right? When I gave him his personal training and helped him for the competition, after that was done, it could have just been done. But then I saw what he was doing and growing his personal training and doing the boot camps and stuff like that. And I made the connection because I knew I wanted to go down the journey with him because our personalities, our mindset, and everything like that aligned so well that I would like him to be on it, right, with me. But at the same time, if he wasn't, I wasn't going to be like, oh shit, he doesn't want to do it, I'm not going to do it, mm-hmm. right? So there was nothing that was going to stop me. It was just when I finally found the door that the knob turned and I actually went through it. So, G, if you're letting anything stop you besides your own self, that is your fault.
Yeah. So she said also, I think because it's something different for me, but I know being scared is a good thing, which I just want to touch on that part of what you said, that it's something different. So whatever goals we have and whatever aspect it is, it's gonna be different. Because if it wasn't different, if it's something that's not scary, if it's something that's already kind of like in what you're currently doing, and you have to step outside of your comfort zone, or you have to.
That's where growth happens.
That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like when it's something that's like you have to apply and learn new skills and give way more effort than you currently are. That's what it means in going in all in on something. That's the effort that it takes. It's gonna be different. You know what I mean? It's like when you're trying to achieve something that you haven't achieved before, it's different. You know what I mean? But that's not a bad thing.
Change happens in the unknown, right? That's where, for the franchisee that we were mentioning earlier, or the future franchisee that we were mentioning earlier, that was something that he brought up too. And after we were talking, it was like, this is like, I want to do it because I know that this is where you learn about yourself. And I was like, that's not a lie. And me and Nick learned a lot about ourselves in the launch of this and of Strive, and it was a new stage. And I know Nick learned a lot about himself too, and it was not in a bad sense. It was one of those things where a lot of self-doubt got forced out, right? And I told him in the beginning, I was like, it's not as easy as people make it sound on the internet. And he agreed and stuff like that in the beginning.
But that was an understatement.
Yeah. And I told him, I was like, and this goes for any journey, right? Someone could say the words to you, but those words don't hold the actual weight that they mean or that they actually are, unless you go through the same experiences. A word is a word. The experience is completely different. It's mental, it's emotional, it's physical in some senses, but you going through that uncomfortable stage in any journey, that's when you learn what your strengths are. That's when you learn what your weaknesses are. And that's when you learn if you're going to let yourself sink or swim, right? And sometimes you have to force yourself to swim. It doesn't feel like you can, you don't want to, but you know that there's no other way. There's no one coming to save you, right? That's what Nick and I say all the time, that there's no one coming to save us. Yep. Right? Every decision we make, it's a key decision, and we make mistakes. And then what do? We don't dwell on it. We don't sit there and cry and pout and say, "Oh fuck, okay, what's next? How do we fix this?" Right? And that's what we've done, and that's why we continued to grow, and that's why our business continues to grow. But it's not because we're scared or letting anything else hinder our growth, right?
You gotta, you
gotta risk it to get the biscuit.
Exactly. We gotta embrace, in anything, we have to embrace the challenge, because that's what it takes. That's what it takes to go all in on something. That's what it takes to achieve whatever you guys want to achieve. It's like that saying on one of our tank tops here. It's like pressure builds diamonds.
Yep. That's
right.
What I got the diamond on my elbow wherever it is.
Yeah, pressure builds diamonds. It's like, it just kind of metaphorically speaking, like whatever that piece of coal is, it's never undergone that much pressure to turn into a diamond yet. But when it does undergo that much pressure, because that's what it took for it to finally transform itself into something beautiful. That's something once in a lifetime. So that's just I think at least the mind frame around embracing challenge, embracing the fear, and embracing the struggle, because without struggle, there is no success. You don't win at anything if you don't fucking suffer. That's part of it.
If there's no lows, there's no highs.
Exactly. Dico said, he said,
accountability.
Ownership of all my actions, past and present. That's one thing I battle with, self-doubt. Yet people around me tell me how good I am. Go figure. You are good, Dico. You're great, bro.
And that's not a bad thing either. This is something that Nick and I have had, similar conversations. People will give us praise or give us, the pats on the back, and that's not a bad thing. It means that you care about succeeding and also what you're doing, and also that that you're not settling, right? So you being hard on yourself, and the first step is taking accountability for all your actions and inactions, but then realizing that, just like Jess, right? There's more. You have more gas in the tank, and that there's another version that's better every day, right? You don't need to jump from A to Z, but you're jumping from A to B to C and through the alphabet as you go along, and you're improving day after day after day, and you're doing the steps that you can, right? When someone goes to the gym for the first time, they look at themselves in the mirror, they're not going to see a six-pack, right? They wake up the next day, they come to the gym, again, they look in the mirror. It is the most difficult thing to do when you do the same thing day in and day out, and you continue to do that process and you see little to no change, right? But the change happens in that time frame, right? So it happens just like, on the previous episode, we talked about the hockey stick. where you don't see any change, you don't see any change, you don't see any change, and all of a sudden it's boom. It just starts to compound, right? You lose a little bit, you lose a little bit, you lose a little bit of fat, and all of a sudden you're like, damn, I got some striations. Damn, I got, a 2-pack. Damn, oh shit, there's a 4-pack, right? And so it's that commitment to your goal and going all in, whether you see the change or not, and whether you feel like it or not, whether people are giving you the support or not. I don't care if you don't have anyone that believes in you. One, we believe in you.
Yeah, we do.
Right? But you need to believe in yourself before anyone else will believe in you. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how can someone else believe in you? Right? Same thing goes for a lot of things, right? If, just like, let's say trustworthiness, if you can't tell yourself, if you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't follow through with it, no one else knows, only you know. But if you can't trust your own commitments to yourself, how can someone else trust you? Right? So that's what you need to realize is when no one's looking, what are you doing?
Yeah. And like something for everyone to think about. It's like, what, like you going all in on yourself, working on yourself. It's like your best version is waiting for you tomorrow or the next day, but it comes back to you. You know what I mean? Like if you don't go all in on putting in the effort and the discipline, even when no one is looking, to be in all of your actions, to be the best version of yourself, you're not going to see that best version of yourself. And I think, don't you guys want to see the best version of yourselves within the next day and even further down the road? So, I mean, I think that's a disservice to each individual in themselves. And that's a question that we got to ask ourselves internally. It's like, am I going all in on everything that I do? Especially on certain goals that we want to attain.
Right. So, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Dang, I'm gonna get that tatted on me. I'm not even kidding.
But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, realize that going all in, it is a skill. It is a skill. It is developed. So just because you messed up on a day, you didn't give it your all today, knowing and taking responsibility for the fact and accountability for the fact that you didn't go all in today and changing that for tomorrow, that's a step in the right direction, right? That's a brick on the wall of building that skill. Realize that, believe me, there's days that we don't want to go all in. There's more days than not, right? And we can't sit here and tell you that it gets easier. It doesn't. But the skill that has been developed makes it a little bit more feasible to not feel the suckiness, right? It just becomes your habit. You just do it because you know that's what you need to do. It just becomes who you are. All in becomes part of your personality.
Yeah. I think that ties in a little bit with the skill, the discipline skill. Because like Devin said, like more than 50% of the days that you wake up and you don't feel good and you don't want to put in the effort and it doesn't feel good to do what you need to do to go all in, it's not about what you're feeling. Fucking no one gives a shit what you're feeling. It's definitely not your goals. Don't care about how you're feeling, but it's the fact of when what you're trying to attain means enough and that weight holds. I think I've mentioned this in the past. Like when it weighs enough to you is when the skill of discipline and doing it no matter what kind of comes into play, that you know what needs to be done, so you're going to do it anyway, even if it doesn't feel good. Denny, my boy Denny came out of nowhere. Love you, Denny. Love you, bro. He said he loves us. So he said, for those who don't know how to source confidence, how do you facilitate belief in yourself? Damn, my boy dropped a good question.
Are you doing one of those ones where you're reading the question like you asked the question?
Yeah, pretty much. You want to answer that one first.
Say it again.
For those who don't know how to source confidence, how do you facilitate belief in yourself?
Confidence is, just the ability to believe in yourself, right? And I think, in my experience and in my opinion, I think confidence isn't something that you're born with. right? It is, again, just like discipline, it is a skill, right? And how you develop this skill of confidence or self-belief is hitting the milestones that you're setting for yourself. And they don't need to be necessarily big milestones, right? But when you start to build confidence, it's because you told yourself you were going to do something. You told yourself you were going to go all in, and you did. Whether you won or lost doesn't matter. You left everything out there on the table. There was nothing else that you could have done this time around. And then knowing that you still want that goal and then trying again, right? And the more you do that over time, and the more you're able to push yourself to do the things that you know you need to do on the days you don't want to do them, starts to build the self-belief and the self-confidence that will allow you to now take that skill and apply it to bigger goals.
Yeah.
There's not like that. For example, our self-confidence level as entrepreneurs was at two different things when we started Strive. I didn't have the delusional self-confidence thinking that I could run a franchise at that point, right? I mean, I probably thought I could figure it out because I had confidence in myself. But at the same time, with your no entrepreneurial skills, my limited entrepreneurial skills, we both believed in ourselves and our ability to figure it out because of all of our other life experiences where we figured it out when we faced a problem. This problem was, or this task, this skill, this project of opening the gym was just at a bigger magnitude than some of the other ones in our past. But we know from our past experiences that no matter what comes our way, we will figure it out. We may not know the answer, but we will find the answer. We will find a solution. It might not be the first solution. It might not be the first answer, but again, we will try again until we get the answer, right? And then same thing, now we built the gym has grown. You know, both of our confidences have grown as in our skills as entrepreneurs. We launched the franchise, and even when some of the stuff we were talking about earlier, it's not the fact that we're so confident and we think that we're the best, franchisors, that we're smarter than, some of the franchises that have 1,000 units that have been around for decades. That's not what we're saying in confidence. Our confidence is we know that any problem that comes before us, it was placed before us because we are ready to face that obstacle and grow. Because every obstacle that you face is an opportunity for you to basically grow as an individual and also professionally.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you just said in regards to his question. Like, in a nutshell, for me, it's like it comes down to the confidence thing. It's like proof of action, proof of your action. It's like you believe in yourself when you know that you put in, like, when you do the certain actions that you told yourself you were going to do, literally, like what you just said. Like, if you have a lot of belief in yourself that you're capable of doing something, for example, like a push-up, like the confidence level that you have and the belief in yourself of being able to doing a push-up is probably really great because you've done the action. So you've done the action, one, but two, you've done it so many times that your confidence level in executing that action is through the roof, right? So and then taking that to a different magnitude, it's like building, like, whatever you're trying to, whatever it is that you're trying to believe yourself in, or that you can achieve something. It's like putting in the proof of action with starting with little steps that ultimately kind of, I guess, like building blocks
to compound.
Exactly.
I mean, I'll wrap it up with this part, right? You're balancing these short-term sacrifices of you going all in for the long-term goal or the long-term gains that will impact your life, right? So you going all in doesn't mean you need to have tunnel vision and block everything else out, and your family doesn't matter. That's not what I'm saying. But you going all in and missing certain things that are minimal in value compared to the goal that you have and the desire to hit that goal, or at least the amount of desire that you say you want to hit that goal, right? That's a short-term sacrifice, but the impact of that experience is what we're talking about, right? That impact of the experience of you going all in now will be echoed through your future. You are going to have that in the back of your mind, knowing when something else, when you want to achieve something else, you knew you gave it your all the last time you wanted something, you know you have the ability to do it again, right? So short-term sacrifices for long-term results, it's not just in, you know, someone wins a gold, you keep referencing Olympics, like they win a gold, okay, a week later, what? They got the gold, awesome. But now they know in the next 4 years, they know and they have that self-confidence that all the work and all the effort they put in for the last time they trained for the Olympics, it was worth it. Yep. And they know, and they have that self-confidence that they know that they can achieve that. Right? So it's those kind of things that have long-term effects. So with that being said, guys, make sure you guys do believe in yourself and you guys are going all in. Don't let little external factors or limiting self-belief stop you from achieving the things that you want to achieve. They don't have to be big goals. They don't have to be crazy goals, right? So, as simple as, you know, Geraldine saying that she wants to do a powerlifting competition, right? It's a want, do it. Put the work in and do it. And so if you have those things and you have, you know, your limiting belief, that's the only thing that's going to be stopping you. You're going to find reasons why you can't do it today. But if you really wanted it that bad, you would find time to make in each day to go all in. It doesn't need to be the whole day. It doesn't need to be all of your time, but the time that you do put in towards achieving that goal or that result, you go all in during that time. Make sure you guys share this episode with a friend, with a family member, with someone else that you know is trying to achieve a goal, right? That is trying to achieve something in their life, or that is going on that roller coaster of ups and downs in their journey, which should be everyone. So you should be sending this to everyone in your contact book. But with that being said, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Until next time.
See you guys next time.
Peace.
Hey, bro, you out angling.
No negative vibes, only positive thoughts. Cause in the game of life, mindset calls the shots. Got my mind on the prize, I can't be distracted. I stay on my grind.